Hey everybody, welcome back to Let's Talk Physical Media. I am your host, John, and it's the weekly show where we talk all news in the world of physical media, and it was actually a very busy week, kind of coming in hot with Criterion and their April 2025 releases. I can't believe they're already announcing their April stuff, and there was some pretty big stuff announced. Sean Baker got two announcements. The big one, obviously, is Anora. Anora is getting a lot of Best Picture attention at the moment. I don't think it's going to end up winning, and it's funny because this is one of the rare times, and I mean very rare times. This is one of the only times I've ever done this where I spent full price to actually buy Anora digitally because I wanted to make my list, the top 10 movies of 2024 list here for the channel. And one of the movies I didn't get to see in theaters was Anora, and I had to see it before I made that list. Still haven't seen The Brutalist, but there's just no way for me to see it until next week, which it'll get its own review because that's one of the only big movies I didn't get to see before I made my top 10 list. But Anora, it was making a huge splash. Sean Baker had his last movie come out a couple years ago. People really liked that, but didn't get as much attention as Anora. And Mikey Madison is getting a lot of attention for this movie, and she really should. She gives one of the best performances. I wouldn't be surprised if she won the Academy Award for Best Actress. But the film itself, it's pretty good. It's really enjoyable. A lot funnier than I thought it would be. It's kind of pitched as like Cinderella in the real world, kind of combining it with Pretty Woman. I can see that, but it's just much more of a commentary kind of on the cultural differences between certain classes. And I love the movie for it. Maybe I'll enjoy it more on rewatches. Getting a lot of extras on here, so maybe I'll grab this one on 4K Blu-ray. Probably not till sale, though. Like I said, Sean Baker is getting another movie released on Blu-ray. That movie's Prince of Broadway. I've never seen that movie. Maybe you guys can tell me if that's good. Best Squat. I hope I'm pronouncing that wrong. I'm sure I'm not. It's getting a 4K Blu-ray release. And this one is Jean DeFlore / Manion of the Springs. Two films by Claude Berry. Not too sure what those are, but they are coming to 4K Blu-ray. Two big ones, getting re-releases, upgrades from previous Criterion Collection releases. It was Wong Kar-wai's Chungling Express. This is, in my opinion, either his best or his second best film. This and In the Mood for Love are my two favorites, and I'm glad that these are both now going to be upgraded to 4K Blu-ray. In the Mood for Love didn't actually have HDR on it, but it was still a phenomenal 4K Blu-ray release, so I'm very curious to see how this looks on 4K Blu-ray, and it does still continue to devalue that Wong Kar-wai Blu-ray collection because are they going to upgrade everything else in there? We'll have to wait and see. And then Some Like It Hot. This is another one of those all-time classic films that the Criterion Collection has had, so you can get this now on DVD, Blu-ray, and of course now 4K Blu-ray. This might be Billy Wilder's most famous film, so to see this getting the 4K Blu-ray treatment, like out of all the movies that are being released that month, that is probably the one, that and the Chungling Express, that I have my eyes on the most. Anora, like I said, I'll wait for a sale on that. But yeah, some great announcements from the Criterion Collection for the month of April. And we pretty much got confirmation now that Dirty Harry and Pale Rider and the Outlaw Josie Wells are all going to be coming to 4K Blu-ray. We got our first look at the Pale Rider artwork and the Dirty Harry Steelbook artwork. Now, I saw a lot of people saying, like, that means we're probably not going to be getting the rest of the movies in the franchise on 4K Blu-ray. We might, just sometime down the line. The original one is an all-time classic, especially in the world of Clint Eastwood. It's one of his greatest performances, one of his most recognizable roles, so of course Dirty Harry coming to 4K Blu-ray is highly anticipated. Pale Rider, I'm pretty excited about. That's one from the 1980s. And the Outlaw Josie Wells, also pretty excited about that. More Clint Eastwood 4K Blu-rays, I'm all there for it. I'm really glad we're going to be definitely getting them now. Glad to see that getting finally confirmed. One thing that was announced is that Shout Studios acquired the Golden Princes library. And if you're wondering what that library is, I believe it was about 156 films that now they'll have the rights to. And the big ones that stood out to me, and stood out to a lot of people, is John Woo's, the films he did before he came to the United States and started making movies like Broken Arrow, Face Off, Mission Impossible 2. The reason why they wanted John Woo to make those big Hollywood films is because he directed such classics as Hard Boiled and The Killer, which have some of the most incredible action scenes you'll ever see in film history, and those will definitely be coming to 4K Blu-ray sometime down the line, and now we'll know they're going to be coming from Shout Studios, so fingers crossed it's 2025, but since they just got the rights to them, I imagine it's going to take some time. But hey, just knowing that those are going to be coming to 4K Blu-ray is pretty damn exciting. I mean, The Killer and Hard Boiled, those are just some fantastic films, and those should look incredible on 4K Blu-ray. So that was really huge news. It was also announced that Heretic, here in the United States, Heretic got an A24 4K Blu-ray release exclusively. So in the UK, Heretic will be getting a 4K Blu-ray release as well. That was one of the more popular horror films from 2024. Really, just Hugh Grant doing Hugh Grant things now. I mean, just being weird at this point. You know, this guy's a 1990s heartthrob, and now he's playing an Oompa Loompa. He's just playing this really funny, overly confident guy in The Gentleman from a few years ago, which is a hugely underrated Guy Ritchie movie. And then in this movie, he plays this weirdo again in a fantastic horror film. So Heretic, at least people over in the UK and in Europe and everything, will be able to get this on 4K Blu-ray as well, and you don't have to import that A24 release. And then this week, we got confirmation of a bunch of rumors from last week, and that is that Lionsgate Limited will be releasing 2 new steelbooks that they announced for February, The Third Man and You're Next, which already had United Kingdom 4K Blu-ray releases, so those are going to be coming out in the United States via Lionsgate Limited, and the big talking point here are those prices. And Steelbook Obsessed actually did an interview with somebody, I can draw a blank on the name, over there about Lionsgate Limited, and how they were losing money on the best. We talked about this actually here on the channel previously about this interview, is that how they were losing money on those previous 4K Blu-ray releases that were coming out exclusively to Best Buy. Think of like your Cranks, Cabin in the Woods, Angel Heart, those beautiful 4K steelbooks that Lionsgate kind of became known for, just because, you know, they had the slip cover over the steelbook with the great artwork that really tied into the actual film, so you had to be a fan of the film to understand the artwork of the steelbook. Absolutely loved it. The quality of the discs were usually pretty damn good, and, you know, a lot of time, the number that sticks out in my head is, like, they were like $23, and we did feel like we were stealing them, like we were getting a fantastic deal, because I mean, this artwork and these steelbooks were incredible. The transfers were really good. Reservoir Dogs, that 4K steelbook, which got re-released now with Mr. Pink on it, so a different 4K steelbook. You know, very high quality releases. So when Lionsgate announced that they were cutting out the middleman, you know, no more Best Buy, which I really do feel like Best Buy not being around anymore has hurt the pricing of physical media, and it's just becoming more and more niche because you can't get everything anymore because of these high prices. So Lionsgate Limited, the only place you can get these 4K steelbooks for You're Next and The Third Man, which is one of my most anticipated 4K Blu-ray releases ever, The Third Man, because, you know, the Criterion Blu-ray is out of print, so now this will be the only way to get it, and I had to pull the trigger on it. It was $50 for that 4K steelbook for one film. That's really, really tough, given will be high quality. I know there's the transfer from what I've seen from people who bought the United Kingdom Anniversary Edition have said it's a nice transfer, so at least, you know, I don't have to be too worried about that, but it's a tough pill to swallow at that price. And then, you know, your next is going to be the $40 4K Blu-ray, and of course that already had a Second Sight release in their nice fat box packaging. So I can't imagine people will be double dipping on that, especially not right away, even though I have to admit that Lionsgate 4K Steelbook is phenomenal for Your Next. Your Next is one of those horror movies that surprised the hell out of me when it came out. I think it came out the same year as The Conjuring, and people just kept talking about The Conjuring, but Your Next was great and just had one of the most iconic kills I can ever think of with a blender. You have to see it for that, and the song in the movie was also very, very memorable. So I always really liked Your Next, and I would like to grab that 4K Steelbook, so I got my fingers crossed that there's a more standard edition like they did with the Kill Bills and Jackie Brown, but that's not a guarantee because there's other stuff on there, like Apocalypse Now. If you want to get Apocalypse Now on 4K Blu-ray, me and Frank were talking about this on his show this past Tuesday, about how it was like $20 for the most part to get that old Apocalypse Now 6-disc set. Now it's really expensive on Lionsgate Limited, which is similar artwork, but it's you know, more green now, and really it's a beautiful looking steelbook, but it's the same exact release, same exact disc, and it used to be like $20. So Lionsgate was definitely losing some money here, but there's no guarantee that there will be a regular standard edition that's around like the $25 mark, which is very unfortunate because you can't get all these unless you really have a huge expendable income. So I understand Lionsgate's perspective. Like, hey, we were losing money for a long time, and even us in the physical media community kind of could have figured that out just because we're kind of stealing those steelbooks. But I do feel like there's kind of a happy medium, like around the $30 mark. $40 and $50, $40 for one steelbook it's really, really hard. And, I'm going to have my reviews for the Kill Bills and Jackie Brown this upcoming week. Unless those transfers are absolutely stunning, it's even harder to justify picking up those 4K Steelbooks, even though they are collector's items and they're here for the collectors. So, The Third Man was really the exception for me just because that's a 4K Blu-ray that I've always just wanted to own. The Third Man is fantastic. Can't wait to get my hands on that. Comes out February 25th at the end of February. Shaping up to be a very great month for physical media, but also a very expensive couple of weeks. So that's all I got for this week in the world of physical media. What are you guys most anticipating? Let me know that in the comments section below. And while you guys are down there, don't forget to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Share this video if you guys could. Spread the word about Let's Talk Physical Media. We also have channel memberships, so if you want to become a friend of the channel, a producer for the channel like John Doe Juggalo, or a channel director like Frank from Frank's Media and Reviews and Mr. Smelly Potato, you can look for all that information in the description below. But if you got no money to throw away, guys, don't worry about it at all. We just hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, get out in those streets, tell your friends about us, and then we'll be seeing you around.